I just wanna let you in.
Hello ladies and welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. Hello, my name is Samantha and it is great to have you. I upload new videos every single Sunday, so if you are not yet subscribed, hit that button down below and join us here on my channel. Welcome to the 6th episode of Let's Talk. If you have not seen the previous 5 episodes, those will be linked in the description as well as at the end of this video. Today, let's talk about codependency. We're going to cover what it is, how it impacts our lives and relationships, and what we can do to unlearn codependent behaviors. Let's start off with the definition of codependency. According to the Oxford Dictionary, codependency can be described as the excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner. They also add that typically this is on one who requires support on account of an illness or addiction. The definition is pretty straightforward, but also a bit confusing. Most codependents, myself included, aren't really aware of our so-called reliance on a partner. A large portion of us love independence, love freedom, and are surprisingly headstrong. These traits trick us into thinking that we are the furthest thing from codependence. But in reality, both aspects of our personality can exist at once. You can be fiercely independent and loving it while single, but turn anxious, obsessive, and insecure when your codependency is triggered. Codependents are extremely sensitive and empathetic. Normally, these are amazing traits to have, but when paired with codependency, they work in overdrive and do more harm than good. The combination of extreme sensitivity and emotional unrest can be very difficult to deal with. It frequently leads to substance abuse or other self-harming behaviors. And things only get worse when you begin to factor in the type of people that are attracted to codependence. More often than not, a codependent will partner with a narcissist, a manipulator, or simply someone who only thinks of themselves. Codependents frequently make the mistake of thinking that their eagerness to please and their big heart will attract an equally caring partner. While their partners may initially seem caring, genuine, loving, and sometimes straight out of a fairy tale, more often than not, this is simply a mask that is worn to gain the codependent's trust. This is because we codependents often have a naive approach to relationships. It's almost as if once someone has won our heart, they can do no wrong. We tolerate bad behavior even if it makes us uncomfortable. We excuse subpar treatment because we're empathetic. And we allow our boundaries to be crossed repeatedly because we are afraid of being left. And this is a recipe for disaster. The virtues that we hold ourselves to turn us into targets. I realized I was codependent after multiple turbulent relationships with people who were varying degrees of abusive. And it was quite the wake-up call. In the past, I had placed the entirety of the blame on the other person. They were liars, they were cheaters, they were opportunists. And while those things may be true, by failing to hold myself accountable as well in those relationships, I gave away all of my power. And by giving away my power, I allowed the cycle to continue. Thankfully, I eventually opened my eyes to the patterns I had been taking part in, and I've begun to understand them and myself much better. Truthfully, it was a difficult concept to wrap my mind around initially, but the silver lining is that once you realize you've been giving away your power, you can work on reclaiming it. And reclaiming your power will look different for every codependent. For some of us, it's entirely leaving relationships or connections. For others, it's enforcing boundaries or limiting exposure to those who trigger us. Whatever path to healing you choose, just know that nobody can make that choice or do the work for you. You are in it for the long haul. The people who love you for you and not your codependent perks will be proud of you, and they will encourage you to continue growing. And those who are around you strictly for their own benefits, they will clue into the change very quickly and exit on their own accord or try to tempt you back into your old behaviors. Like I mentioned in the second episode of Let's Talk, you should absolutely expect substantial pushback when you begin to work through codependency. Most people in your life have benefited from your people-pleasing ways. So it makes perfect sense that they would be in for quite a shock when you are no longer complicit. Despite this, it is your responsibility to stay on track and continue healing. To help you along your path, I will leave some of my favorite resources in the description. They are so helpful, and most of them are free. If you have any resources, tips, or stories you'd like to share on codependency, please feel free to leave those in the comments as well. I will be linking these 2 episodes of Let's Talk, and I'd highly suggest you check them out as they do tie into codependency. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.